What's new on Grab It TV? Absolutely everything. We've got daily news shows, sports, weather, comedy, inspirational shows, fast cars, and a whole lot more. If you aren't watching Grab It TV, you're really missing out. It's free for you and free from censorship. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Week 14 in the National Football League at World of Matchups. My name is Dexter Reed. I'll be your host this week, and every single week breaking down every single matchup in the National Football League from now until Super Bowl Sunday. To my right, I have super producer, Mr. Spencer the Wiz. Spencer, say what's up to everybody, man.
Hello, everybody.
All right, welcome in. We are here, you there. Lots to go over, lots of things happening in the NFL, and we are the super information highway to bring it to you now. First things first, coming in late last night, sadly, Mr. Demaryius Thomas dies at the very young age of 33 years old. Cause of death has not yet been determined. There are rumors going around that he was suffering from seizures the last couple months, found dead in his Georgia home. This is really, really sad. 33 years of age. It's really, really young. This guy was an all-star. This guy was a stud in the National Football League. 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. His most notable catch came from the hands of Tim Tebow in a playoff game. 80-yard touchdown versus the Pittsburgh Steelers to send the Steelers packing. Our condolences here at World of Matchups go out to him and his family. It's a really sad day overall for Broncos country. May he rest in peace. Next, Mr. Elijah Mitchell, one of the nicest finds in the whole National Football League, is hurt. He's in the league's concussion protocol. He's 50-50 to play. He's trending on the wrong side of doubtful. Chances are you're going to see a lot of Jermichael Hasty and Jeff Wilson this week until he gets his head cleared right. Next, let's talk about Mr. Keenan Allen, placed on the COVID list, as is Mike Williams as well. COVID is starting to ravage the Chargers camp. Now, he might still be able to play, but he's going to need 2 negative tests to do so. Drop-dead COVID date is Saturday morning. Hopefully he gets cleared, and we'll see him on the field. If not, he will be out. Next, for the first time, folks, in almost over a decade, since 2009, a 20-play offensive drive ended in 0 points. I watched this whole game as a Chief fan, and I could not believe what was happening. The Denver Broncos drove up and down the field, got to like the 8-yard line, went for it on 4th and 2, and walked away with 0 points. Now, if you guys would just allow me a second to rant about the Denver Broncos. Once a week, I'm going to start doing this because there's some terrible things happening in this league. Vic Fangio needs to be fired before I eat another meal.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
The Denver Broncos are loaded. What are they doing in Denver? Can we get a quarterback that is competent and able to push the ball downfield? You've got Jerry Jeudy. You've got Courtland Sutton. You've got Javonte Williams, who we'll talk about later. Even Melvin Gordon is still very serviceable. Noah Fant, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler. These are stud players, and you've got a DC playing HC. He should be out of there. That was a terrible way to end a drive on the road. Vic Fangio, I would serve you your walking papers before you even showed up at the stadium today. Next, let's talk about Mr. Corey Davis. Out for the year. He's going to undergo core muscle surgery and miss the remainder of the season, okay? The Jets really weren't doing much with him. Zach Wilson does like him because he's the Jets' field stretcher. He hasn't done much in weeks. He is done. Bye-bye. Bump up Elijah. Bump up Jamison Crowder. There's not much going on. Ty Johnson, there's not much going on in Jet country. So he's done. Next, Logan Thomas. Guy just came back. suffered a serious knee injury. They're saying it's not a torn ACL, but he's going to be done for the year. He was placed on IR on Wednesday. That is a huge, huge piece of that team that's now missing. Bump up Ricky Seals-Jones. He's banged up as well. The Washington football team is going to be leaning on their wideouts moving forward.
I think being a tight end for the Washington football team is a curse. Remember Jordan Reed?
Everyone.
Also a very talented tight end, but he could never stay healthy.
Jordan Reed. Where is Jordan Reed? I think Jordan Reed works at Terribles now. Jordan Reed was great. What happened? The guy just couldn't stay healthy. I think you're right about that, man. The tight end position in Washington is definitely a curse. Shout out Lenny King. Next, Joe Burrow. You've been letting me down, man. I just dumped Justin Herbert for you, okay? Dislocated pinky. He's going to play through the pain. Been practicing the last couple days. Supposedly the pain is lessening. He's ready to suit up on Sunday, but that's something to watch, especially when the focal point of that offense is tossing the ball downfield to those skilled wideouts. Next, Daniel Jones and his bad haircut. He's going to be out for Week 14 with a neck injury, okay? Enter in some backup scrubs. Jake Fromm. I mean, boy, the Giants are bad. He could potentially be out. These neck injuries are nothing to play with. Daniel Jones has been a letdown to this point. Who knows what they're going to look like on Sunday. Good luck to the Giants. Next, the Washington football team has won 4 straight games. Okay? Now, what's even better than winning 4 straight games, especially as a team that's really not that good, is having your quarterback, Taylor Heineke, receive $125,000 per win as an incentive that's in his contract. This win streak has made him $500,000. Dude, I'll never be mad at a guy for getting his money. This is more than just a feel-good story. If you think that guy doesn't want to keep winning, you're out of your mind. You give me $125,000 per win, I'm taking that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Next, the most overrated player in the league, Mr. Jamal Adams. He's done for the year with a torn labrum, and he will need season-ending surgery. I find it very interesting, Spencer, that a lot of these torn labrums are of the severe and not severe variety. Dalvin Cook just had a torn labrum and played last night. Your thoughts?
Well, I just wanted to say I think the injury list on any sport is completely bogus. How are you going to be a game-time decision for Dalvin Cook and he goes and breaks out 200 yards? There's no equivocal. All I need to know on an injury report is what percentage of snaps they're going to play or something like that. I feel like that's the only way we can figure this out. I know they can't give out that kind of information, but it has to be better because if these guys had the same injury, then they didn't have the same injury.
Yeah, torn labrum supposed to, and a separated shoulder. He's supposed to be. I mean, if I tear my labrum, and I feel like I'm no softy, but if I tear like my labrum and separate my shoulder, I'm on the shelf for at least a month.
I stubbed my toe, and I'm pretty much out for the day.
You know what I mean? This guy played last night, and he looked like O.J. Simpson. Anyway, rest in peace, Jamal Adams. Your season is done. We'll see you next year. All right, Thursday night football. This game was over before it started, and then all of a sudden, the Steelers try to make it interesting and do what they do. The Steelers aren't ever out of a game. I took the Steelers plus the 3 like a dummy. I almost ended up looking like Negro Damas. I've won 9 out of the last 12 Thursdays, and I thought I was going to hit last night and backdoor a lot of people. Here's the deal. The Minnesota Vikings, they can't close. Even with a 29-point lead, this is a team that has had like 12 games come down to the last play. They're like 3-9 or something like that. And I knew that Pittsburgh would at least be in the game, and that's what happened late. The fourth quarter, they started to wake up. Deontay Johnson's catching balls. They're starting to use Najee Harris the right way. We knew Minnesota's defense was not good. The problem that I have with this game is this. I don't even mind the fact that I lost. I don't even mind the fact that Minnesota won the game. I really don't. My problem is with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I went in on them last week, and I'm going to go in on them again. This is one of the most undisciplined teams in the National Football League, okay? We have a clip last night in the fourth quarter. You're driving to get this win. Chase Claypool catches a pass, okay, and is celebrating. Look at this. He's celebrating this pass with like 11 seconds left. Boy, you need to get that ball back to Ben, get in the huddle, and try to go win this game. That play right there has been the antithesis of how disgustingly despicable this football team's play has been when it counts. And Mike Tomlin, this is on you, okay? Chase Claypool is a good player, but it's obvious that he's a me player. How do you not understand situational football there? You have a chance to win this game. Every single second is valuable. What are you doing? I know Ben needs to retire. We know this, but we can't put this all on him. Mike Tomlin, you have to get your guys in place. You think Hines Ward will ever do that? I mean, what has happened to the athlete of today where everything is me, me, me? I'll tell you what's happened. This social media look at me nonsense, this Twitter nonsense, this stuff never would have happened. Lynn Swann would never have done this. You got to know what's happening on the field, when it's happening, and I even think even though that did happen, the Steelers had a chance to score and backdoor this game, potentially even win this game, but they gave it up. And it's sad to see. Look, I'm not saying Mike Tomlin needs to be fired, but I'm not saying Mike Tomlin shouldn't be fired. It is what it is. All right, folks. Let's talk about our social media. We're everywhere, okay? Social media outlets, if they're there, we're there. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have our own YouTube page. Subscribe. So when the stuff hits us, we'll hit you with it. It'll go right to your inbox. You can go to grabit.com. It's free. Free. All our content is there. Know what's happening out there in the world of sports because you're getting it firsthand from the super information highway that is World of Matchups. Now, you know what time it is. It's one of my favorite times of the show. It's the time where we look at all the ineptness that happens week in and week out in the National Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to roast the refs.
No, God! No, God, please,
Pass is incomplete, no flag.
No!
All right, folks, you know what this is. We are here to let the refs know how much they suck. First clip, let's talk about this Travis Kelce non-fumble call. Look, I'm a Kansas City Chief fan, okay? But I'm a football fan first. How this was not ruled a catch and a fumble is beyond me. That goes the other way. That should be Denver's ball, 1st and 10. I think they would have even scored a touchdown on this. The ball bounces right to the defender, and he is off to the races. Unless Kelce trips him there, he's gone. Run that one more time, Spencer. They want to talk about a football move. That's a catch. That punch out is a clean punch out. That, my friends, is a fumble. I'm sorry. We got to get this right. That game was close for a while. That's the type of potential swing that could change the outcome of a game. The NFL blew it here as they've been blowing it all season long. Ridiculous. Roasting the Ref, sponsored by Heroes Heating and Air, Medford, Oregon. Guys, go check them out at heroesheatingandair.com, my friends, for all your service needs. Next, this catch is called, and real quick, Mike Vrabel, okay, home on the bye. I love Mike Vrabel, okay? The guy sitting on his couch watching this game realizes what everybody in the world realizes, that should have been a catch, goes to the rule book and then tweets this out. Let me tell you something, Mike Vrabel, that takes stones because the NFL is not going to be doing you any favors if a call is supposed to go your way and you don't get one. But kudos to him for calling that out. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. I'm a Kansas City Chief fan, and I'm telling you that was a catch and a fumble. That should never happen, and shout out Mike Vrabel for highlighting that. Next, this catch is called and then reversed in Pittsburgh. Now, last week we had a master class here on World of Matchups about what is a catch. We broke out the rule book. We showed you several different catches that were called catches and not made catches, that were not catches, then called catches. And to this day, I think the NFL still doesn't know what a catch is. Run that again, Spencer. How is this not a catch? He catches the ball, pulls it in. Does the ball hit the ground? I don't think so. Is there enough there to completely reverse that? We saw Javonte Adams last week make a catch where the ball definitely hit the ground. And this was called a catch. Now, shout out for the concentration that it took, but that's a catch. But that other one wasn't a catch. Folks, I'm going to keep this is why I do what I do, and I'm going to keep doing this. As long as we have the hypocrisy and the BS calls made here in the National Football League, I'm going to keep calling you out. Me and Spencer, we're going to keep chopping these clips up. We ain't going to sleep until this stuff stops. The bottom line is that World of Matchups believes that if the ball hits the ground, it should not be a catch. It's simple. Stop playing with our emotions. Get it right. Next. Look at this BS late hit on Josh Allen Monday night. Look, he gave himself up for the first down. The guy's already going after him to push. That's 15 yards and a first down? Really? He didn't touch him in the head. He two-hand touched him. How is this a late hit? Now, is he even in the white yet? He gave himself up. What does the rule book say? Well, according to the rules, that should not have been a penalty. Folks, we're hitting you with the NFL's own rules. And according to their rules, that shouldn't be a penalty. And they're still getting the guy's penalty. Why? It makes absolutely no sense. The inconsistency that is the NFL is the most ridiculous nonsense that takes place anywhere that a human being is being paid for services. And these refs, they're making money, Spencer. Did you know the average referee makes $205,000 a year? The hypocrisy is so ripe, and it absolutely needs to stop. And until they change some of these rules and go back to the drawing board and make things clear as clear could be, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
All right, folks, we're back. Boy, that roasting the ref gets my blood boiling. But we're going to calm things down here a little bit, and we're going to talk about what you guys want to talk about. Our mailbag Q&A this week is going to start off with my good friend, the Deacon of Dallas, Mr. Scott Broyles from Texas, asking, where does Jonathan Taylor fall in the MVP race? Well, look, it's simple. They don't give running backs this award. I think that they need to have a separate award for running backs. They really do. Jonathan Taylor's having an all-world season. He's having the type of season that Derrick Henry had last year. But the bottom line is that as long as Tom Brady's in the league and as long as Tom Brady is throwing touchdown passes, Tom Brady's going to be the MVP. On this very show, we gave the midseason MVP Maggie Award to Matthew Stafford, and the guy has not been heard from since. At this point, Tampa Bay is revving up for a potential playoff run to go deep in the playoffs and potentially be in the Super Bowl, while the 7-6 Indianapolis Colts are struggling to even stay afloat if they make the playoffs at all. That being said, Jonathan Taylor will probably have to have 5 touchdowns per game, every game, from here on out to win the MVP award. Next, Danny O'Brien, my man Dan, Long Island, New York, asks, is Rob Gronkowski the best tight end of all time? This was one that I had to think about. Currently, I would have to say yes for 2 reasons. One, because of the rings he has, and then people could say all they want about rings, whether they want to measure a player's status and career. Rings matter, okay? And Gronk's got hardware all over the place. And 2, for a couple seasons, there wasn't a bigger red zone threat inside the 20, maybe even ever, than Rob Gronkowski. The only problem I have with Gronk is that he's always hurt because he's looking to bring the punishment to you. And he spent a lot of time injured. But there is no denying what he has done from the tight end position. What him and Tom Brady used to do is absolutely magical. And if you look at what Gronk is still doing, albeit hurt a lot this year, when he's on the field, there's no denying the guy's a Hulk. He can catch the ball. He can block. He can chip. He's intelligent. And he's got probably the best quarterback of all time throwing the ball. To me, you do the math. It equals best tight end of all time.
You really think he's been injured all season? Like, actually?
Well, I said it a couple
don't.
weeks ago, and again, like, without being a huge conspiracy theorist and all that, but I believe guys like Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski are just being saved for the playoff run. I mean, he played a lot last week, and he had a good week. I don't expect him to do the same thing this week, but they're just saving these guys. You know what I mean?
He dominated in the Super Bowl.
Dude, Gronk is an absolute mammoth.
He's the greatest tight end of all time, at least in my opinion.
So.
I don't think it's close.
I don't think so.
In his prime, nobody's touching him.
No one's touching him. And look, Travis Kelce is a lot of numbers. Antonio Gates. There's a lot of guys out there that have played really well at this position. I think Kelce would need another 3 Super Bowl rings to even sniff what Gronk has done. It's really just that simple. Second part of that question for Danny, can Kyler Murray backdoor the MVP? I don't think so. You know, Kyler Murray's had a good season. Kyler Murray's been injured a lot. He hasn't been on the field. There is no denying that a guy the age of Tom Brady playing every single game, being protected the way he has, even when, guys are not out there playing well for him, he's still doing what he has to do. I mean, Tom Brady will even still scramble for a 20-yard run at his age. That is absolutely ridiculous. I think the MVP is his to lose. Kyler Murray, again, would be like Jonathan Taylor. He would have to have like a 5-touchdown game every single game, no picks, and like 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns to even be considered at this point. We all know that the league sucks Brady off, and they're going to continue to do so until he's gone. Maybe then when he's gone, guys like Kyler Murray will get their flowers, but it ain't happening this year. He just hasn't played enough.
I think Colt McCoy ruined his MVP chances. He's played too well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just looks too good in that system. So
yeah, I mean, you could put me back there. I mean, they didn't miss a beat without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Colt McCoy and Zach Ertz picked up all the slack, and they kept winning, and they beat decent teams. Next, the Dolphins. Let's talk about them. My friend Alex Ganem, Las Vegas, Nevada, wants to know. The Dolphins were 1-7, okay? Now they're 6-7, and they are hot like fire. Are we not giving them enough attention? And I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, man. The Dolphins are on their way back. This team might backdoor a playoff spot. I like Brian Flores. Now, I was like, 1-7, but I think a lot of that is their own doing. You're romancing a guy like Deshaun Watson. You're not giving the quarterback you drafted a fair shake. That type of off-field distraction and that kind of dissension will get into a locker room. They had a lot of injuries, and their high-priced secondary wasn't playing well. Now they get a couple cupcakes in a row. They start winning a couple games. They had that really huge game versus the Ravens on Monday Night Football. They dismantled the Ravens. That was a huge win. Or was it Thursday Night Football? One of those nights. They just dismantled the Ravens. And now they're surging. They beat up the Giants last week like I told everybody that would. That was my best bet. They hit that. Tua looks comfortable. They've got decent players. They're not world beaters, but they ain't scrubs. If you think you're going to just push Miami over, you're wrong. So, yes, we are not paying enough attention to them. They need to be watched right now because there's going to be a last playoff spot that's going to be available for somebody. Why can't Miami get in?
I totally agree with you. They played really well at the end of last season, and big surprise when you're not actively pursuing somebody has like 24 sexual assault cases, your team organization feels a little better and plays a little better.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
silly.
Tua is making a lot of money, but you drafted this guy for a reason. Show him the love that you were showing him draft day, and let him show you what he can do. This is what you brought him here for. There's no reason to draft a guy and then not give him a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I love my wife. I think she's hot, but I'm not constantly looking at hotter girls wanting to be like, wow, I wish she was my wife. Dude, you made the commitment. Stick to the commitment. They have done that, and now you're seeing it turned into W's. All right, let's do what we came here to do. Pick winners, okay? Tell you about what's happening in the National Football League and who is going to win these games. Game previews. We got 13 games this week to break down. We were 8-6 week 12. The last couple weeks, I haven't hit my double-digit spot. I'm not feeling really good about that. I've taken some chances, and it hasn't come to fruition, okay? But still, we're doing real well here at World of Matches. 116, 77, and 1 on the season. On the bye, Indianapolis, Miami, New England, and Philadelphia. And before I get into this, I want to say something, all right? And I want to make this very clear. If you are listening to me to go bet money and win money so you can pay your rent, I'm not here for that, okay? People are texting me and emailing me and hitting up the World of Matches fan page. Oh, I took Miami and then changed because I listened to you. Hey, that's on you, bro. You know what I mean? That's on you. I tell you what I think. I am more right than I'm wrong, but if something misses, don't come at me because you took your money and gambled it. You roll your own nickels, okay? Your finances ain't my problem. This is not a gambling show. We pick straight winners on Sunday and Monday. We only handicap Thursdays. If you got a problem with happening because I told you to pick something and it didn't hit, that's on you, Governor, not on me. Now, early games, Ravens at Browns. All right, guys. The Ravens are frauds, period. I ain't backing off, and I'm done with the Ravens. Capital F. But the Browns are even more fraudulent. They're frauds 2.0. All right? The last time these two teams played, they absolutely stunk up the joint. And is Lamar Jackson worthy of a long-term deal? Somebody, please hit me up and tell me what you're thinking, because I cannot be the only person on this face of the earth that thinks I would not give this guy a long-term deal. He is going to be RG3 writing a book in 10 years. Okay? Now, is Baker Mayfield worthy of a long-term deal? Boy, I don't think he is either. This is the fraud bowl, okay? And I'm not expecting a whole lot of offense here. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, they're going to be the linchpins for Cleveland here at home. And I just don't trust either team here to go far this year. I really don't. If either of these teams makes the playoffs, and we know the Ravens, because they've built them a nice lead, they're going to get there. I think they're one and done, whoever they play. They just have not impressed me. Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown will have to be involved here for Baltimore to win this game. Now, Myles Garrett, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. The dog pound is the dog pound, and Baltimore may not have recovered from going for 2 last week at Pittsburgh. Would you have gone for 2 in that spot, Spencer?
It's tough, man. I hate, honestly, judging division games, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip.
It's a tough call because I get it. You're on the road, your defense is gassed, and you want to get out of there. And you want to show your team you've got faith in them. You want to go for it because if it hits, that's a huge win. But if it misses, you have to now relent the fact that you didn't go for the tie with the best kicker in football to play another down. I'm not a coach. Me, personally, I want to live to play another down, but there's no guarantee that Justin Tucker hits the kick either. But he's only the best kicker of all time.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, the guy has been house money. I mean, anyway.
Normally, I subscribe to take the points because they're not free in the NFL.
Points. Nothing is guaranteed, man. Unless you've been practicing that 2-point play all week long and you've hit it 9 out of 10 times, take the points. Because of that, the pick is going to be the dog pound. Next, Seahawks at the Texans. Another disgusting game by 2 disgusting franchises. It seems as for the moment Seattle has gotten their swagger back, but I'm not falling for the hype, okay? Despite being a decent Niner, they beat a decent Niner team last week. Russell Wilson should be using these games as an audition for a new team, okay? And he's been coming out and saying, I want to be a Seahawk for life. Russell, you're being wasted, bro. Unless you get Pete out of there and get a new coach in there that's going to work with the skill set of your players, I'd be trying to push my way out. And I'm not even one for forcing my way out, but I'd be trying to get out of there, okay? Look, Seattle should win despite not having a true running game. Everyone's hurt. And maybe we will actually have a DK Metcalf sighting. Boy, you want to talk about a not used properly team, a not used properly player. It's ridiculous because this guy's just been a ghost recently, okay?
The one thing I want to say about him, and this is what makes the NFL so, I think, just incredible, is that this guy is at peak, like, physical form, like for a human being type of physical form. And yet defenses are still able to take him out of the game. I think that's where you see it, just how amazing this game is of football. Is like, yes, you can have all these crazy athletic players, but game plans really do like make a difference.
It does. Who's the Raiders' #1 target right now, Spencer? What's his name?
Nobody.
what's that white kid's name?
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow and DK Metcalf have the same numbers. Have you seen what Hunter Renfrow looks like? Guys, he looks like Spencer. Okay? That's all you need to know about the National Football League. You could look like David Boston juiced up and still be taken out of a game. Now, David Culley and Houston have nothing to offer. Tyrod Taylor is hurt again, and now it's back to Davis Mills, okay? They may have to push Taylor to play through injury, so either way, you know what that means, all right? The pick's going to be the Seahawks here, and I'm starting to fire Pete Carroll, hashtag, get this guy out of here. Please, this guy has absolutely ruined Seattle. If you're a Seahawk fan, we want to hear from you, okay? Email us at worldofmatchups@outlook.com. Hit us up on social media. I cannot be the only person that's feeling this way about your coach. Next, Jags at the Titans. Woo! Guess what, folks? Another disgusting game.
I think I'm going to be sick.
The Titans, they're coming off their bye, and they should be ready to smash Jacksonville, okay? Mike Vrabel clearly takes no time off, okay, despite having the bye week, as we know. Ryan Tannehill has been bad this year, but he should be good enough to help the Titans win at home. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, these guys have been question marks all season long, and they're going to continue to be, all right? Maybe they play, maybe they don't. Who knows? Who knows what you're going to get from Deonta Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard either. But Jacksonville needs to mail it in. Just lose, baby. All right? The first year for Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer has been an absolute dumpster fire. Urban Meyer has to be released at the end of this year. You are wasting Trevor Lawrence. Tennessee should play well enough on defense to win handily. The pick's going to be touchdown Titans.
Touchdown, Titans!
Next. Guess what, everybody? Another meaningless, disgusting game. Boy, this is one of the worst weeks for football. The Jets are bad and the Saints aren't much better. The losing streak by New Orleans cannot last forever. So I am taking them here to finally stop the bleeding. Finally, Alvin Kamara will return after a 3-game absence, and Taysom Hill is good enough to beat a very bad Jets defense. I trust Zach Wilson as much as I trust the American justice system, which tells you all you need to know.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
It makes it an easy decision for me here. The Jet defense is going to have their hands full with the Saint offense, and especially without Corey Davis, who is now out for the year. This is an easy one for me. I'm taking the New Orleans Saints. I know the Jets have had signature wins in the past. The Titans, they beat Dallas last year. They beat Cincinnati. I just don't see it happening without a field stretcher in Corey Davis. The Saints cannot lose 6 games in a row, or can they? I don't know.
Something is stinking over there. I don't know what it is either.
I don't know.
They just don't have a pizzazz anymore or something.
Dude, I never thought losing Drew Brees would hurt this team the way it has. But I have to take them here simply because they have a top-notch defense, and I just don't see how are the Jets going to score.
Could be a target for Russell Wilson next year too.
Yeah,
that'd be a
I
great
like
place
him,
for him
man.
to go.
Top 3 places Russell Wilson goes for me next year. Okay, it's got to be the Saints. It's got to be. I hear the Giants have some interest in Russell Wilson. I think Vegas would be good for Russell Wilson. There's a lot of places Russell Wilson can go. I would get out of Seattle. He doesn't want to leave, though. I just don't understand it. Next, Falcons at the Panthers. Guess what, everybody? Another lousy game. These are 2 awful teams with nothing to play for. And the last time we saw Scam Newton, he was being benched. Coming off their bye, I expect a better effort, but what I expect and what I will get will be 2 absolutely different things, as I am sure of that, especially with CMC being done for the year. The Carolina defense sucks, and Cam can't throw, okay? Cam can't throw. He is the most inaccurate quarterback next to Lamar Jackson. He puts balls places they never should go. You think Derek Carr is bad? I'll take him 10 times over Cam. With Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, Cordarrelle Patterson, and Russell Gage, they should have a game here, and they should have a hand in a big road win in Atlanta. No one thinks Atlanta can win this game. I do. Okay? It's sad to see DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson languishing on the Panthers. Remember when DJ Moore was really good earlier this year? He was a stud. You know what I mean? And I know that Sam Darnold fell off and now is injured, but how bad is it now? They can't even.
They got a clean house.
They
also have a great rookie receiver from LSU. So.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? I forget his name. He's really, really good. Terrence Marshall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good. Why? That dumped clean house.
They have a talented team.
They do.
And they have so much talent.
They
on
have a
defense,
lot of
too.
talent.
Their secondary should be the best in the league.
Yeah, you got Gilly Lock now. I don't know, man. Matt Rule hasn't done a good job there. They started hot and then they've fallen off. Carolina needs a quarterback and fast, okay? The pick, the Atlanta Falcons. Next. The Raiders. On the road, taking on my Kansas City Chiefs. Finally, a good matchup to break down. I was going to make this my game of the week, but didn't want to sound like a homer. Now, the rivalry hasn't been much of one in recent times, but the games are always fun to watch. Raiders went to Kansas City, got a big W, and all of a sudden they won the Super Bowl. The Chiefs ain't going to forget that, especially after going to Vegas and beating the brakes off them a few weeks ago. Now, KC beat Vegas bloody. We know this, and we're going to look for them to continue to ascend in the same fashion in the AFC after being left for dead at 3-4. Look, the Chiefs need that 1 seed, man. If any team in the NFL needs that 1 seed, it's Kansas City if they're going to make any noise. Winners of 5 straight, they got to have this one, okay? Expect a better performance from Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. Guys, the drop balls just have to stop, okay? It's just that simple. Put a better touch on the ball, Patrick. Stop throwing it so hard. Catch the ball, Tyreek. Please and thank you. Stop fumbling the ball, Travis Kelce. Please and thank you, okay? The drop passes will stop this week. Vegas continues to choke games away in their building, and after losing at home to the Washington football team, there isn't much left to root for but beating the Chiefs. This would be a huge win for them, and Spencer thinks that Derek Carr will actually play well. But this is what I know about Derek Carr. On the road in Kansas City in inclement weather, the guy is like 1-7. It's just that simple. These aren't the friendly confines of the COVID, no people in the stands, and 80-degree weather. The Chiefs' defense has been ranked number 1 the last 6 weeks. Number 1. We are coming for you, Derek Carr. Now, I do expect him to have the game of his life because that's just what the Raiders do. Raiders are going to Raider, okay? But the X factor will be the Chiefs' defense, okay? Look, it's time they got their flowers. Go look at the Chiefs' defense the first 7 weeks and then look at their defense the last couple weeks, and you get at me. If anyone deserves their flowers, it's them. KC needs to play better, and I think they will. Why? Because it's Raider week. This is what they do when they play the Raiders. The pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, folks. Those are the early games. We're going to pay some bills, have a little commercial break, and we'll come back in just a second. My name is Dexter Reed. You've been watching World of Matchups. See you on the flip. Heroes Heating and Air are HVAC experts with great customer service and an unbeatable price point. They are certified Rheem heating and air conditioning equipment dealers in the Southern Oregon area, including Medford, Grants Pass, and Ashland. They offer free bids and estimates, 24-hour repair service, new installation and replacements, attractive maintenance agreements, and a senior citizen special with home efficiency replacements. Check them out online at heroesheatingandair.com or call 541-821-1615. Welcome back to the show. Our Player to Watch segment this week is sponsored by our friends at Insurance Lounge. Finding an insurance plan that is right for you and your budget can be challenging. However, the team at Insurance Lounge makes it easy. Their team is dedicated to being transparent with all their customers when navigating the multiple types of insurance options. Auto, Medicare, and business insurance are only the beginning of the major types of insurance categories that they cover at Insurance Lounge. They offer personalized recommendations and help guide you through the process, making your decision as effective and stress-free as possible. Think of them as your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs. Get a quote today in the most convenient way for you, whether in person, online, or by calling the team at 866-459-2166. Insurance Lounge. Check them out. All right, folks. This week, our player to watch is going to be a guy that I've been watching, laying in the cut since he was drafted, just drooling over this guy. Now, I mentioned last week that my favorite running back was Joe Mixon, but that may be about to change because this week's Insurance Lounge player to watch is none other than North Carolina running back now on the Denver Broncos, who was on Sunday Night Football for all to see, Mr. Javonte Williams. Look, I don't know what Vic Fangio was doing, but everybody got the litmus test last week. They've been splitting time with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, pretty much 50-50, and I think they should send Melvin Gordon out to pasture. As a rookie, Javonte Williams has come out and he has led the league in broken tackles and missed tackles. The guy's vision is all world. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can pass protect. He'll drag guys 5 yards, and he is smart as a razor, this guy. Former valedictorian, former linebacker converted to running back. This is a guy that if you give him the ball 25 times, he is going to give you 100 yards and at least a touchdown. This guy is the future of young running backs in the National Football League, and I think Vic Fangio needs to be fired for not using this guy correctly because it is obvious to me that right now he is clearly the best player on the team. The Kansas City Chiefs defense has been playing a lot better in recent times, and he almost put up 200 yards from scrimmage last week. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what anyone else is watching, but I'm watching this guy ascend to new heights, and he is going to be a guy that you want to keep your eye on from the Denver backfield for a lot of years to come. The North Carolina project has it all. He's got vision. He's got hands. He is built like a freaking tank, and at 5'11", 220, nobody wants to tackle this guy. And believe me when I tell you, if they gave this guy the rock 25 times, he could be Jonathan Taylor 2.0. On behalf of Grab It Television, Spencer the Wiz, and Insurance Lounge, this week's player to watch is none other than Mr. Javonte Williams. All right, time for the late games. Speaking of Javonte Williams, Lions at the Broncos. The Lions won a game. They won a game. Oh, my goodness. But this is still a lousy game. The Lions get off the schneid last week with an amazing last-minute win versus the Minnesota Vikings to secure their first victory. Now, to me, it was absolutely hilarious to watch them party like they had just won the Super Bowl. But, hey, I ain't mad at y'all, okay? Because I know what it takes to win games in the National Football League, and nobody wants to go 0-16-1. So I take my hat off to you. Dan Campbell, congratulations. Now, sadly, they have to go to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos, who just lost to Kansas City, as we talked about. And the Broncos can run the ball really, really well, as you just saw with Javonte Williams. Okay? DeAndre Swift's availability is still in question, so that leaves Goff, Hawkinson, and Williams. And they have some ancillary pieces there, the Josh Reynolds, the Amon St. Browns, but these guys aren't going to do really much, okay? They're going to have to do whatever damage that they can versus this Denver D, which is very, very good. Denver's D is very, very good. And we talked about the loss of Von Miller. I'm now coming around, Spencer, and I'm thinking that was the right move. Get picks, get younger, because that Denver D gave Kansas City all it could handle. If that fumble went their way, they would have been in that game. It took a Daniel Sorensen pick 6 for Kansas City to win that game. So Denver's still on the come up, but they got the wrong coach. Okay, I digress. Javonte Williams is an absolute stud. We just talked about him, and he should run all over the Lions after punishing Kansas City. Look, I can't wait for Vic Fangio to be fired, and I can't wait for them to take Teddy Bridgewater with them, okay? So we can see the real Denver Broncos. If the Denver Broncos had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, they could go to the Super Bowl this year. They have all the tools. This team is loaded with talent, and it's being wasted. Sutton, Judy, Fant, they all deserve a better quarterback. Nevertheless, they drubbed Detroit here with ease. I cannot see the Lions winning 2 games in a row. The pick is the Denver Broncos at Mile High. Next, the Giants at the Chargers. Burn it down. Will somebody please just burn it down? Please put Giant fans out of their misery. Big Blue deserves better. The New York Football Giants traveled to L.A. to face a Chargers team that just smashed Cincinnati and made me look like a fool. Daniel Jones is out. Now they're relying on a guy like long neck Mike Glennon and a guy from Jake from State Farm, whoever this clown is. Glennon is in the concussion protocol, okay? And they're praying that he clears by game day. Now, I don't know if he's going to play or not. Either way, I don't think it matters, okay? They have absolutely no chance at winning this game. 0. L.A. will destroy them using cheat code Austin Eckler in a smash spot at home. The Chargers D should eat big, and if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams can clear that COVID protocol by Saturday, they're going to play, okay? And that Giants secondary is going to be doomed. L.A. knows that with the Chiefs ascending that they have to keep winning. They cannot blow this game. Whoever wins that Kansas City L.A. Chargers rematch is going to win this division. Saquon Barkley should have a decent game. He's Saquon Barkley. He's still good. But he's 50-50 to go now, too. Everyone's hurt all over the NFL right now. Okay? The Chargers give up tons of rush yards, even though they did a really good job on Joe Mixon. They may be finally turning the corner here, even though I still think they're fraudulent. But it won't be nearly enough, okay? It's sad to see Big Blue be basically no better than the Jets, okay? The Giants are just the Jets wearing blue. Let's be honest. But it is what it is. The pick, the LA Chargers. Next, 49ers at Bengals. Spencer.
It's a young team. It's a young team.
The Bengals blew it bad last week. This Bengals team has kept me from double-digit wins so many times this year. Okay? Every time I pick them at home, they lose. Why? I have no idea. Here comes the 49ers off a bad loss, and this is the game the Bengals absolutely need to win. Now, no Deebo Samuel, okay? If he does not play, I will not accept another bad loss from the Bengals. I expect Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd all to play well. Now, Mixon has a head cold and is questionable for Sunday. I fully expect him to go, though. He's a tough kid. But if not, Samaje Perine will carry the mail if he can't go. Joe Burrow has a finger issue, so if they are finding success on the ground, it will be a big ground game for Mixon or Perine. Elijah Mitchell's in the concussion protocol, and the 49ers are limping. They're limping into Cincy, okay? Double George Kittle, and you should have no problem winning this game. And, this is a pretender versus contender team, okay? If you lose the Bengals, you're pretenders. If you win, you're still a contender. Who will you end up being here, Cincinnati? This is a look-in-the-mirror game for you. Get this W. Stop making me look bad. The pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm going to make them my best bet because I don't make best bets versus real bad teams. This is a competitive team in San Francisco, and I still think Cincinnati gets this W. Stop making me look bad. The pick, who day. Let's go. Next. This could easily have been our game of the week, but I'm kind of feeling down on the Buffalo Bills. Jordan Kusi, I'm sorry. Your team looked horrible last week. Bills at the Bucks. The Bills are in trouble. I'm telling you, man, the NFL season, it does a lot of this. And you could be high on the hog one week, and the next week you could be down in the dumps. New England ran an absolute clinic on Monday Night Football, and that's a loss that stings. So we've had 3 games in the last month where the team has just force-fed you the run game, and you've done nothing to stop it. Did you see that press conference with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde? Boy, they were salty. And it's not like New England's got these humongous backs, and they just destroyed that secondary. The Bills can't stop the run. They peaked early. The word is out, man. There's blood in the water. Just run the ball until they make adjustments. That's how you beat the Bills, if they make adjustments at all. Okay? They can't stop the run, and they can't run the ball. This is why they're going nowhere in my mind. Sean McDermott got absolutely undressed by Bill Belichick, and his psyche is damaged. Go watch his press conference from this last week. he was furious, and he knows he got embarrassed on national television.
Yeah, let's not give more credit than we need to give credit to Bill Belichick in this one. It was, whether it's Bill or anybody else, they beat us, right? But you sit here and you tell me when we start with the average starting field position of the 40-yard line, and he starts with the 23-yard line, and I'm rounding up in both cases, and we were 1 for 4 in the red zone, and they were 0 for 1 in the red zone. You give me that ahead of time, I'm saying I like my chances.
Dude is absolutely shook. Look for Tampa Bay to dial up a huge dose of Leonard Fournette here, okay? Brady will be Brady, and I expect Tampa to just continue to get playoff ready. Tampa is what the Bills want to be. I know the elements were bad, but Josh Allen looked absolutely lost on Monday at home.
Oh, East? I thought you said West.
He needs to get Diggs and Knox more involved. I swear the Bills just play better on the road. They really do. A suspect secondary in Tampa is the way to beat Tampa. You have to throw on them to win because you ain't running on that front four. Vita Vea is 2 people in 1. I just don't see it being enough for them. I don't. They're going to have to throw the ball 50 times to win, and I just don't see it happening. The pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are going back to the Super Bowl, folks. Write it down. For a while there, I wasn't sure. That my pick of there being a rematch may come to fruition, or they may force the Patriots in. The league may force it on. They may force the Patriots in there, because you know what that means. It's all about money. Sunday Night Football: Bears at Packers. The Bears. Aaron Rodgers absolutely owns Chicago. Is there a player in the National Football League that owns a team more than Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago? I don't think so. Chicago is a horrible team. Do the math. Justin Fields has been cleared to start after suffering rib injuries over the last couple weeks. Javonte Adams, Aaron Jones, and the Green Bay defense, they're going to be the difference here. Matt Nagy has ruined the Bears, and they don't offer much in the way of being competitive. Now, maybe David Montgomery has a decent game, but it's going to take Green Bay to turn the ball over for Chicago to have a chance to win this game on the road. There's just too many injuries and underperforming players to beat a surging Green Bay squad at home, okay? Under the lights, Green Bay, it's cold. This is what they do. The frozen tundra. Allen Robinson's a ghost. Cole Kmet hasn't grown into himself yet. I mean, there's so many things stacked against the Bears here. I cannot see them winning. The pick, the Green Bay Packers. Take them with confidence. This should be a resounding Green Bay drubbing. Next, Monday Night Football. The Rams at the Cardinals. I was so high on the Rams a couple weeks ago, Spencer. My goodness. Ever since we gave
stink alert, man. Just stink alert.
They're borderline frauds. It just goes to show you that in the NFL sometimes you should leave things alone. They bring in OBJ, they bring in Von Miller, and it's just been a nightmare. Now, they got right last week versus Jacksonville, but everyone gets right versus Jacksonville. They smashed Jacksonville 37-7. Darrell Henderson's all banged up. The last time these two teams met, Arizona steamed LA in their building. I lost that game. The Rams finally got right last week versus a very ugly Jacksonville team. And they head to the desert looking for revenge. They want that redemption here. Now, I think they actually pull out a win. I don't know why. I just think Arizona is the most lackluster 10-2 team I've ever seen. Nothing about them really scares me. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are back, finally. Add in James Conner. And they're going to score points. Okay? What's their other back's name? The guy that's been on IR. Chase Edmonds. He's come back too. So they're getting the band back together. They're getting healthy. But I expect Sean McVay to get Kupp and OBJ involved early. Get Van Jefferson involved early. Okay? Now, the LA running game, it's a question mark right now. Darrell Henderson is, Sony Michel looked good last week. If Sony Michel is carrying the mail, who knows what could happen here. The better defense is the Rams. I think they squeeze out a 3-point win on the road here. Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, they have to show up. Look, we were talking about this before we started the show. I think Jalen Ramsey right now is just a name. a top flight cornerback getting paid that kind of money, you have to shadow the other team's best wide receiver. Jalen Ramsey doesn't do that. They don't play man. Jalen Ramsey just drops back and, he'll join the fray when the tackles are being made. It's time for him to show up. Aaron Donald's not really having an Aaron Donald type of year, but he still commands the double and triple teams. These guys need to show up big if they're going to win on Monday Night Football, and I think they do. The pick is the Los Angeles Rams. All right, folks, before we break and talk about our game of the week, we're going to tease our special guests, okay? We have the Wizard of Washington making his second appearance on World of Matchups, and the Deacon of Dallas making his third appearance with us on World of Matchups. Mr. Scott Broyles and Mr. Lenny King, respectively, join us after this break. My name is Dexter Reed, and you are watching World of Matchups. See you on the flip. Welcome back to the program, everyone. Before we venture into our Game of the Week and special guests, we must welcome in our Game of the Week sponsor for the entire season, Stacey Harrison of Felony Fitness. Folks, Felony Fitness isn't for the faint of heart. Felony Fitness promotes solely the 4 F's: no fear, no forgiveness, no failure, and no false hopes. Those who say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, be patient, because they are coming back around to finish the job. Felony Fitness now, Felony Fitness forever. All right, folks, it's the time of the show where we venture into our Game of the Week. This week's Game of the Week will be the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Washington to take on the Washington football team in a clash of two NFC East teams. I believe the winner of this game will win that division, so this is going to be a heated contest. I'm welcoming in my two friends, Mr. Lenny King, representing the Washington football team, and the Deacon of Dallas, Mr. Scott Broyles, representing the Dallas Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in everybody. Here we go. Gentlemen, this is a big one, okay? Whoever wins this is going to win that division. We all know this. Now, Washington is surging. Oh, I can't even believe that Washington is surging the way they are, man. And Dallas is, I kind of feel like they're kind of holding on. Tony Pollard, torn left plantar fascia. Scott, why is Dallas winning this week?
Why is Dallas winning this week? That is a great question, Dex. And the question is, the answer is the Cowboys have all their players back. They've had 10 days now to rest. With Gregory back, I believe Lawrence last week made the All-Pro weekly team his first game back. So my question is, what is the offensive line of the Redskins going to do when they have Parsons, Gregory on the field at the same time?
It's going to be a tough answer.
And if they put pressure on Heineke, I believe he's going to have – I think he's going to have around 2 to 3 picks this game if the Cowboys' defense plays the way it is. I think this whole game breaks down to which defensive coach really puts in the best game plan. I mean, you got Jack Del Rio, which Washington's playing good defense with 2 of their best players out of not playing right now. You know, Young's done for the year, but – they're still playing great D. I think the last couple games, it's about 17 points they've been giving up average-wise in this 4-game winning streak. It comes down to the Cowboys stopping the run, too, with Gibson.
He's hot.
I believe in the Tampa Bay game, they had a 16-play drive, and that's what they're going to have to do against the Cowboys. They're really going to have to control the ball. And with all our weapons back, I mean, Pollard, Pollard and Zeke are the two big questions. What is our running game going to do? Because people don't really understand how our running game sets up our passing game.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. It sets up the passing game, and we have it, but we have our line totally healthy. Still just came off the COVID. We have no excuses. We've had, like I said, we've had the 10 days to rest. So I just think it comes down to the Cowboys just have more talent than the Redskins.
I won't disagree with that. And I do believe if Dallas is really going to take that next step in the NFC to making it a game where they're going to be going deep in the playoffs, this is a team that they have to steamroll. I'm not so sure that they can do it. I find it really interesting that since Sweat went out and Chase Young went out, we're starting to see the Washington defense that we all thought we were getting earlier in the season now without their two best players. It's kind of mind-boggling to me. Lenny, why is Washington going to win on Sunday?
Well, to answer the question you just had about the defense with Sweat and Chase Young out, what people don't realize is there was many changes across the defensive. You had Landon Collins move to linebacker. You put the safeties that you had last year when they were successful back at safety with Cam Curl. They basically went back to what they did last year. And that's why they're being so successful. The Chase Young and Sweat being out definitely hurts, but they're playing more sound football without those guys. They know they just can't rush up the field and give up those big gaps anymore. So they're just playing much more sound football. I struggle with this game to say Washington's going to win, but to you guys' point, Dallas can't run the ball. They don't. Both their backs are not healthy. They can't run the ball. I think besides a long run by Pollard, I think they had 50 or 59 yards on 19 carries. That's not going to get it done. I mean, Washington's their front seven is pretty damn good. So they're going to have to beat us throwing the ball. And I don't know if Dak's going to get that kind of time. Yeah. I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring game. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. I think Redskins cover, but at the end of the day, I think Dallas might win. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's decided by a field goal either way.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. I'm still kind of torn which way I want to go. I mean, I want to take the Cowboys, but, I've been watching Washington over the last couple of weeks, man. It's not like they're winning by getting lucky breaks. They're actually winning these games out. And all of a sudden, you have a guy like Antonio Gibson, which everybody was kind of left for dead. This guy's looking like the second coming of, LaDainian Tomlinson, and he's hurt. So I think he's definitely someone that the Dallas defensive front's going to have to contain if they're going to dominate this game. So let's talk about the player that you really have to keep an eye on each side of the ball. For me, if I'm a Dallas Cowboy looking at this game, I have to find a way to control Terry McLaurin. This is one of the most underrated players in the National Football League, and if he had a competent quarterback, he's 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns every single game. He makes contested catches, can go up and get it, and he's not the biggest guy. He goes through traffic. Dallas has to find a way to cover this guy. If Heineke throws and gets in a rhythm with McLaurin, it could be a long day. And on the Washington football side, if I am looking at the player I absolutely have to have an eye on all game long, it's got to be Micah Parsons. Look, a couple weeks ago, the Deacon of Dallas says he sees a lot of LT in Micah Parsons, and I kind of laughed it off because I think that's really high regard to put kind of a rookie in. But then I started looking at this guy's tape. We broke it down here on the show. He's not lying. Micah Parsons is an absolute monster. And this guy's going to have a long career. Those are my two guys that you have to keep an eye on each side of the ball. Scotty, who is the guy in your mind on Washington that you absolutely have to control to secure a W on Sunday?
I think this week it's going to be Gibson. It really, because they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to try to do ball control. So if we can put them in the long third downs, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, it's going to really put the pressure on Heineke. The one thing that scares me is the Cowboys give up the drag route, and Washington does that pretty well. And if you've watched the Cowboys against the Raiders, it was really shown that if you do the drag, we give up. I mean, Diggs has played with all the interceptions, but he seems to sometimes give up a deep pass. And that's, but all great corners do that. But he seems to do it. And it's always seems to be on a drag route. And that's one thing that kind of is little bit worrying me this week is they may hit, if they hit 2 of those, this is going to be a real ball game. And, like I said, but controlling Gibson, I think, is going to be the key on this. And the Cowboys are healthy. There's no excuses. They got all their defensive line coming back. They got Gilmore's coming in at nose tackle. He was supposed to have this is supposed to be his breakout year, his second year, and he got hurt right before the season started. I believe they put him on the IR on like September the 5th, and now he's just coming back. So hopefully he will help in the middle, and we can control the run, because if we don't control the run, this is going to be a really scary game for the Cowboys.
With McKissick potentially playing, I thought he was going to get ruled out, but he's kind of now 50-50. If he brings another element to the Washington football team offense that a lot of people sleep on, because that guy can catch and he's got wheels. Lenny, on the Washington football team's side of things, who is the Dallas player that you absolutely have to control in order to get this win on Sunday?
It's Dak Prescott, and that's it, because they're not going to be able to run the ball very well. It's going to be up to Dak to throw it 45 times. Their receivers are, the big three they have. I mean, they're the best in the business, so you have to get to Dak. Dak is X factor in this game, because I just don't think the running game is going to be very good for Dallas with it. But again, we're a little bit weak in the secondary. They're going to get their chances to go downfield with the ball. That's the one thing that scares me with this game. But running the ball, I think that's going to be nipped in the butt early, and I think it's going to be a throwing game for Dallas. They're going to find out quickly that they just don't have the power to run the ball with their backs the way they are right now. So it's Dak Prescott all day. You stop him, you win the game. You don't stop him.
It's going to be a long day if he gets in any kind of rhythm with those weapons. I mean, Schultz, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we all know Gallup. Amari Cooper hasn't had a big game in forever. He's due. At any time, one of those guys can go off for 3 touchdowns, and that is kind of scary. A couple of years ago on Thanksgiving, Antonio Gibson went off on the road. To your point, Scotty, I kind of slept on that, kind of forgot that. If you get that kind of production out of that guy, this is a game Washington could win. So I do agree with you that he could be an X factor, and he'll open things up for McLaurin too. So Washington's no scrubs. You don't win 4 games in a row in the National Football League by sucking. And all of a sudden, they're knocking on the back door of a playoff game here, which is, I can't even believe it.
I'm telling you, Gibson is a Cowboy killer.
He had 3 touchdowns that game.
That's what's kind of scaring me. But as a Cowboy fan, I really trust, Dak, especially that Cooper's coming back. Cooper last week was coming back from COVID, wasn't totally healthy. Gallup is starting to really show what he showed a few years ago. And then you got, Lamb. Who can ever cover Lamb? I've never seen a guy open 10 feet all the time. All the time. He catches the ball and there's nobody around.
I'm so mad that Dallas ended up getting this guy. How in the world does Dallas end up getting CeeDee Lamb? They didn't even need CeeDee Lamb. That's egregious. I mean, how do the Raiders pass on CeeDee Lamb? That's disgusting. Oh my goodness.
He's following them the great 88s.
And you see a little bit of those guys in him too. Guys not scared to go over the middle, and we'll go up and get it. All right, final thoughts. Let's get final scores out of you guys. I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm not going to take them big. I do think this game goes under. I do think they struggle at times because this game is on the road. I do think that they are going to have a hard time running the ball, but they got too many weapons on offense that if they get any kind of pass protection up front for Dak, they could pick this secondary apart. It's not a great Washington secondary. I'm going to go 21-17 Dallas Cowboys. What do you think, Lenny?
I'm around that. I'm going to go more of like a 17-14 game. I'll choose Washington just to protect my team, because I know where you guys are going. So I'm going to go 17-14. I think that people are sleeping on the Redskins offensive line. They controlled the ball those 4 games. They've just dominated it on the run, on the ground. I think as talented as Dallas is, they're gonna open some gaps up, and Gibson's going to run through.
See it. What do you think, Scott?
I'm going 24-20 Cowboys, and I'm predicting Lamb will have 2 touchdowns.
All three of these scenarios that we just pointed out could easily come to fruition. And that's why I love the NFL, because at the bottom line is they have to play the games. Gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you coming on World of Matchups. We appreciate you sewing into World of Matchups the way you have. This is real talk for real understanding, people. I know there's some of you out there that like football, but this is real fans breaking down real games. Not just I like the games, I like the teams for their colors, but lifelong, die-hard fan football, giving you the X's and O's of games week in and week out. On behalf of World of Matchups, we appreciate you, Lenny. We appreciate you, Scotty. We thank you for coming on. You guys have a great holiday if I don't see you, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the game. Take care, guys.
All right. Good luck. Thank you.
Cowboys for life.
HTTR.
All right, everybody. Before we go, we got to go over our picks. This week, World of Matchups is taking the Browns, the Seahawks, the Touchdown Titans, the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, my Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, the Cincinnati Bengals. They will be my best bet this week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys in a close one, the Packers, and the Rams on Monday night. Folks, once again, we are all over social media. You can find us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all under World of Matchups. You can like and subscribe on our YouTube page, and you can go to grabit.com, sign up. It is free, and find all our content as well as tons of other amazing content on the page. On behalf of Grab It Television, Spencer the Wiz, and myself, Mr. Dexter Reed, you have been watching the most progressive and comprehensive uncensored television show to hit the airwaves this season. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching World of Matchups. Enjoy week 14, everybody. We'll see you next week. Peace.